I had to come to terms growing up with that because Woodland, California is like you got half the population that is white, half the population that is Latino, and maybe there's a couple Asians who you hang out with. Like, the white students are gonna mainly like hang out with other white students. The Latino students are mainly gonna hang out with other Latino students. There is definitely friends that cross, like there's nothing, no one's saying you can't hang out. It's just the culture you're raised in, the culture you're familiar with. And I kind of straddled that because I obviously pass as white. My mom is Latina. She is like half Basque, half Mexican. So look at the school attendance and they would read off the roll. They would get the Lupe and I'd be like here and they would be very confused. So growing up like that, my parents didn't really speak about it because I once did try to come to them and they didn't really understand because they were basically middle class. So they're like, well, everything's good. So like, why are you kind of upset about this? And then on my dad's side, the Jewish culture, it was, my grandfather was a professor at UC Davis. So it was very like heavy on education. However, because I grew up in Woodland and I was basically, when I told people I was Jewish, they would say, oh, this is the first time I've ever met a Jewish person. So I grew up outside of the Jewish culture. I did not go to Hebrew school or any of that because it was Woodland. There are no Jewish families. So I grew up like not really knowing my culture because I'm also like a no sabo kid, which means among Mexicans, it basically means like your whole family speaks Spanish, but you don't. If you're Latino, like they'll give you so much shit for not knowing the language because so much of the culture revolves around the language. And by not knowing the language, I don't know a good amount of the culture, even though I grew up in a like predominantly Latino community. And then among Jews, there's less stigma. There's a lot less stigma for not knowing Hebrew because you're living in the diaspora. But because I didn't go to Hebrew school, I had to like go back and learn some of the cultural traditions as like me in my 20s because I was not familiar with stuff. I did not know some of the holidays. It's very interesting because I did grow up mixed race, but like I didn't know either one. I knew a little, and I did get not necessarily like racist shit from it, but it did confuse a lot of people.